Okay, happy Thursday, everyone. Thank you so much for dialing in, if you will. I'm acting like we're on a phone system, but old habits.
Long time
Um,
listener, first time caller.
Exactly. This is the vibe. This is the vibe. I am so excited. So, today we're sitting down with Amanda Rueda. Amanda always has these amazing little tidbits that she'll throw into our leadership meetings that make me go, wait, what? You can do what with what? And she's so dialed in to like both, what you can do within GitLab. And then, of course, now that we're using Claude, now that we've got Duo, um, I'm just really excited to sit with her and learn how she uses it every day around her virtual office because I could definitely use some of that help. Oh, I remember it came up in a sales call with the sales team recently where they were saying, by the way, here's some great templates where you can, enhance your prospecting with Claude. So I have yet to use Claude for anything, and I just can't wait to learn everything from you, Amanda. So thank you so much for making the time.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for inviting me. There's so many different ways and angles to take this conversation. So what I thought I would do is just really aim it at folks who maybe are not using AI today in their day to day and just showing you how easy it is to get in. And if the sessions are interesting, we can do more and we can start like doing more targeted kind of or more narrow focus or more deeper dives. So today do you mind, Pilar, if I just jump right in?
Let's do it. But
All right.
do you want to tell us a little bit about you before you start though?
Yeah,
I didn't
sure.
properly introduce you.
Sure,
I
sure,
said
sure.
Amanda, like
So
everybody knows Amanda, but let's hear
I'm
about Amanda
Amanda.
first.
All right, I'm going to give you my slide. So I'm Amanda Rueda. I am the senior product manager here at GitLab for planning workflows. So if you use GitLab for issues or epics, boards, roadmaps, that's my part of the product. So I've been here over 6 years, and I am located in central Mexico and have been very invested in Gente for a very long time and am just super happy to have the opportunity to chat with you. So I'm trying to get rid of this Zoom. Let me see. Okay, great. All right. So before we dive in, and let me figure out how to do this simultaneously. Before we dive in, I have a super quick poll because what I'm going to do is skip past some examples for people that are not in the role that I have examples for. So if you could answer this quick poll for me, just tell me what role you're in. If I didn't think of your role, I'm sorry. I don't think there's a write-in. Maybe put it in the chat. So let's do that real quick, and I'm going to look at the results because this is going to help me kind of tailor the information. So what do we have? We have nobody from sales,
I can't
customers.
respond. I'm from sales,
Okay,
Amanda.
I thought of you.
I'm
Yeah.
Okay.
from sales.
Wonderful. So we have some sales, we have customer success, finance, development, nobody from product. Okay, marketing. So I'll skip the product one. Cool. All right. I just want to make the most of your time. So I want to start by saying AI really benefits anybody, no matter what role you're in. I think there's a misnomer that it's only for people who do code or only for people who do this or do that. So it's really for anybody, and you can make use of it personally or professionally. We're going to focus on professional today. So the benefits that you can get from AI is reclaiming your time, learning without boundaries, meaning like, have you ever thought about, oh, I wish I could go back to school if I only had the time or the money or the access or the whatever. You now have it. Like you could literally learn anything with AI, and it's all about the investment you're going to put into yourself. Um, Overcome blank page syndrome or mind blocks, writer's block, whatever you call it. AI also helps you to improve your already kind of generated thoughts. You're not replacing yourself. You're not replacing your workflows. You're amplifying it. You're making yourself better. I mean, if you could do long division, cool, but you're going to use a calculator, right? Like, think of it that way. It's a tool just to get to the thing faster, maybe better, better quality, what have you. Helps you to creatively brainstorm. I use AI all the time for that purpose. I've kind of developed this. I call him a he. Claude is my favorite teammate, to be totally honest, because I will be like, no shame, Claude, I'm really struggling with this thing. And I will just like mind dump and I won't have to put it in any sort of format or even sound coherent. And Claude just comes back and is like, okay, hear what you're saying. Let me ask you some questions. And we just brainstorm the heck out of literally anything. And then also what I really love Claude for is managing information overload. Have you ever gotten like a Slack post or a PDF or a whatever, and somebody's like, read the thing and then give me feedback? I have like my brain doesn't process large blocks of text or big meaty text documents well at all. And so I don't even read them. I give it to Claude first and I'm like, okay, read this thing, tell me when you're done. Don't say anything about it. He reads it, then I come back and I'm like, okay, what are the top 3 things I need to know? And as a product manager, how does this affect me? Or if I'm talking to this customer next week, what are the things that seem like the most important to them? Or whatever the angle is for the thing. Now I start asking it targeted questions. And then maybe I'll read the whole thing later, or I'll just be like, okay, just show me the passages that back up these things so that I get the actual quotes. This is really something that helps, I think, me personally as like a learning style. Okay, one more poll. Tell me how comfortable you currently are with using AI tools from 1 to 5. This is just going to help me a little bit. How do I launch? Why can't I launch this?
Let me end this
What's
poll
the
first. I think we
scoring?
have to
Thank
end
you.
the
We have
first.
to
There
end
we go.
it. Thank you very much.
Like
Launch.
5 being good?
Yes. 5, very comfortable. 1, not at all comfortable. 3, it's okay. Cool. This is just going to help me decide how much detail I'm going to go into some things. Okay, so
You
we're
can count
on.
me in for 1, Amanda. Sorry, since I'm a
Okay.
co-host, I can't participate. I'm going to give an
Yeah,
option to
no,
participate.
that's awesome. Okay, so we're mostly in the feeling pretty comfortable phase. So it's super interesting to me that I'll end the poll then. It's super interesting to me that you showed up. Maybe you're just supporting me because you're amazing people and you don't want me to be on what do you call it? A presentation alone, or maybe you're just looking for some ideas. Either case, I won't go too far in the weeds because we mostly have people comfortable. So I'm going to dive into when do I use Claude? When do I use Duo? Right? Those are some of the big questions that we have here at GitLab. So Duo is the first column, Claude is the second column. When you're thinking about multi-step conversations, like the Claude's my new best friend to like brainstorm with, when you have to refine or create an output, like if you want a slide deck or you want an email or you want a this or that, like these are typically going to be Claude. Analyzing documents, like that big wall of text I talked about, that's a Claude thing. You can certainly do any of these things with Duo. I'm giving you what where my experiences lead me based on like trying different things. Creating artifacts, as I mentioned, and then AI as a teacher. So if you're trying to learn a subject matter. When you're thinking about GitLab related information, you definitely want to be in Duo. I should qualify that with if it's specific and narrow information. For example, you're talking to a customer or a colleague, or you're about to go type into questions, and you're like, does GitLab do the thing, right? Ask Duo that. It was really great at it because not only will it tell you the answer, but it'll give you the reference material, like it'll give you the link to the doc. If you want to know the status of an issue or some other piece of work in GitLab, ask Duo. If you want help with code or pipeline failures, Duo all day. If you want to generate artifacts like GitLab artifacts like an issue or an epic or some comment, that sort of thing, Duo is really great. Where I would use Claude over Duo for GitLab specific information would be when I want to give Claude a bunch of information, like here are 5 main features, here's my product roadmap, and by the way, here's a PDF from the customer who gave me all of their workflows. Use all of that to tell me how we match up to their expectations. And now create a demo plan for how they can match the GitLab's workflow to their needs. right? So that's kind of a multi-phase, multi-step analysis of a bunch of GitLab information that's refining down to a specific artifact. I'd use Duo for that. I would use Claude for that. I wouldn't use Duo because that's a lot of back and forth. I'm going to get into some real examples. Before I do, some best practices for interacting with AI. Be specific, but I'm going to caveat it with, but not too specific at first. Like if you're using Claude, I found that the better results I get are when I'm interacting with Claude as if I was interacting with a person. So could you imagine like sitting down with, a coffee with your teammate and being like, here's the background of this whole thing. And then I was thinking this and I was thinking that. And here's the 15 things I want you to tell me all before you let them talk. Like a person couldn't comprehend all of that information. Claude can comprehend all that information, but it's probably not going to act in the way you want it to act. So specifically start with, you know what? I'm thinking about this presentation I have to do later today. Hit send. See what he says. He's going to be back. He might be encouraging if you taught him to be so, whatever. And he's going to say, tell me more about it. Do you want some help with that or do you just want to talk about it? Right? Now you come back. Yeah, you know what? Here's the line of thought I'm thinking about. I want to do a pitch for beginning users of AI that at the end of the presentation, they feel more comfortable and they're going to try it today. That's kind of my goal. Where do you think I should start? Now he's going to come back with some additional questions, right? And so now it becomes a conversation. I'm being specific as the conversation continues. I'm not dumping everything into a single prompt. Providing relevant context about your role is super helpful, and you can do that in like settings of your profile so that you're not constantly training it. But as long as Claude knows who you are and what point of view you're coming from, that will help him craft kind of like the output, right? You're not going to go up to a stranger and be like, what do you think about this presentation I'm doing today, without telling them any of the context behind it. Iterate, 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 like always refine. I'm going to show you some examples where I didn't even refine as much as I usually do. I have chats with Claude that are in the hundreds of back and forths. And it's because I'm making something meaty, but it's really like it's really invigorating because you're like, yeah, that's the thing. He starts to go down a thread and you're like, let's pull on that some more. And you just keep going back and forth and back and forth. And what you come up with at the end of the day is this amazing collaborative kind of path forward on whatever you're working on that you feel has been co-created by you and Claude, but is really solid. It's been tested. It's been pressure tested. Definitely break up any complex tasks or questions, specify the format so that you're not really reworking a bunch of stuff. So if you're like, let's write this blog post together and you get through and you're on the same page with what you're going to talk about and whatever, and the final output is like super stuffy and professional that you're just going to rewrite it anyway, like start from the beginning. This is my perspective as a user. I want it to be casual but professional. So talk about what kind of format you want. Also, if it's stuff that you're throwing into GitLab, tell it to give it to you in Markdown format. So you can copy and paste that right into GitLab and not have to reformat. And then ask for alternatives. Even if you like what you see, like you think you're at the end, say, you know what? I'm not convinced. Can we do this another way? Or if you were my manager, what would you think of this? Or if you were my skip level, what would you think of that? And then ask it why or why not, right? Force it to revise its own thinking and provide alternatives so that you have multiple streams of thought to pick from. All right, and I should have mentioned, I'm going to go through the slide deck, but I want to leave time at the end so we can do all the questions and also do deep dives or live dives into the apps as you'd like. So we had 2 people from sales. I have this, as I mentioned, by role. I have 2 examples of things you could do. And I've also included in some cases an example that I have already created in Claude so that you can go and see what I did. So let's jump into just one of these. So this is an RFP response. I get this all the time as a product manager. Somebody comes to me is like the prospect wants to know, or the customer wants to know, can GitLab do the thing? And I'm like, of course the GitLab can do the thing. I know GitLab can do the thing. I've told people GitLab can do the thing 100 times. I have videos on it, but I don't have like a nicely crafted response tailored to that customer. And so in this example, why don't we jump in? Allow. Can you see my Claude? Did I share properly? All right, cool. So in this example, I received a 10-page document that displayed their current workflows with Jira. And they wanted to know, can GitLab support the same preferences? You do not see the attachments because the sharing feature in Claude is private, so you can't see that I attached it. But I attached it. I said, they want to know, can GitLab do these things? Now, I'm in my project GitLab features, which is pre-saved with a bunch of feature information for my area, so I don't have to constantly update the same thing. I believe I also did give Claude the 10-page doc as well as my roadmap, what's coming. So like, what do I plan for the year? And I said, please, let's start crafting a response. So Claude comes back, he says, it's super interesting. Here's some things you could do. Gives me this big long thing. I said, you know what? I can't read it like this. Open it as an artifact for ease of collaboration. So now I have this artifact on the right side rather than reading in this thread, right? And what's nice about this is I can highlight, oh, this is a share. So actually, let me just jump into real quick the live one. This one. This is the live one. So when you have it as an artifact, I can highlight something and I could say, this is lame. Fix this to be more human. I don't know, whatever. I can do things. I can interact with the information to have it change, to ask it to explain where did you get this from, you'll see, you're right. The opening is a bit too generic and corporate sounding. I just love Claude. I've really trained him well. Okay, so I can ask it to change things. So you'll see in some point, I asked him to change it to an artifact. Then I highlighted this huge wall of text it originally had. And I said, what do you think if we make this a comparison table? Right? And that's how we got to these tables. So as I'm kind of reading through it and I'm finding changes, I'm highlighting and asking for updates, right? And so in this way, I can, at the end of this, now this is not very long at all. There's only 15 versions. Typically when I'm doing this for real, this was for the demo, to be honest. When I'm doing this for real, I'm in like the 60 version frequency. And while that seems like a huge investment, it is and it isn't. Probably about an hour it would take me for about a 60 version on an output like this. And honestly, it would take me hours to do that on my own, and I don't think the quality would be as good. So other things that I would do is I would say, like here, there was a call out about something being a benefit for GitLab is the single platform. And I said, you know what, we need to reinforce this all throughout the reply because the big differentiator between Jira and GitLab is that we're a single platform. So he came back and he started to update with callouts, right? So as you're refining, you're finding more opportunities to bring your own message to the things that he's brought. I don't want to go too far down this one. Okay, so I'm not going to read all of the examples in interest of time. The next one is I have a marketing example. So in this left side, I'm saying take some content that's already been created. In this case, in my Claude example, I used a blog post and I said, let's create some LinkedIn posts and some emails and things out of this so I can send it off to people. So I did that. And then I had this thought, where was it? So this is the post. I liked one that he gave me. Wait a minute, I think there was something else I wanted to point out. Oh gosh, this long. No. Okay, so this is the post. I found a LinkedIn of Oh, and I said, I'm the author of the post. Can you utilize first person point of view and make the post a bit more human, right? So I got him to rewrite. Should have included that in the first place. Wouldn't have been a rewrite. When he did that, now I'm just frustrated. I'm like, why is formatting in LinkedIn so annoying? I can't find bullets or bolding. By the way, I emoji react with words all the time to Claude because he needs to know my personality. So I'm like frustrating. So then he's like, can I help you make a better format for that? Sure enough, he did it, right? So that's great. So in this case, I just took something that was already written and I'm like, I just want to share on social, but I don't want the pressure of having to write that LinkedIn post because I'm not good at that. And that took me about 6 minutes. And all of a sudden, I have all these different posts that I could share. Other things you could do from a marketing perspective would be like look at the latest features. And in this one, what I did was I fed it the 1710 release post. You can't see it because it's hidden because it's a share. But I fed it all of the release post. And I said, based on the latest product release, identify which customer segments would be interested in this and tell me why. So in doing that, I thought, okay, but wait, I'm going to be talking to this prospect next week. And here's some info about them. Can you pull out speaking opportunities from this that I could send to them ahead of time, right? So now from that post, I've created an email that I could send over ahead of the call to say, hey, I just want to let you know 1710 dropped. Here's some things that tie to the things we already talked about, right? And again, if I wanted to edit this more, I would have asked it to open it as an artifact on the right, and I would have done some collaboration on that. But it actually turned out to be a pretty good read, so I just left it alone. Okay, I'm gonna skip past because I just noticed time. We're pretty far into the weeds here. Product, we don't have anybody. All team members, if you do nothing else, use it for your professional development. So one thing that I've started is I created a project where I have uploaded all of the notes for my manager about my review, and I've uploaded anything that I personally want to work on. And every time I'm working on a project where I have an ability to show my manager that I'm growing in the areas that they've outlined, I come to Claude and I start a new chat. I'm like, I'm working on this thing. I think it's an opportunity to show growth. Help me. How do I highlight it? And so, you could really do a deep dive here. I could do a whole session on professional development using AI. But that's a really good tip. All right, getting started. How do you get started? Start with low stakes tasks. I linked to a bunch of prompt libraries here that could help you if you don't know what to ask. Try one thing today if you're not already. Ask for help in AI at GitLab, and then coffee chat. I find the most amazing ways to use AI that I never thought about just by talking with other people. So chat with other people, especially people who are using AI, and share kind of the knowledge collaboratively. All right, last quiz as I will start to take some questions. So sorry this took so long.
Verbal response. Yes, Amanda. I am loving all of this. If I was an emoji, it would be like the head blown emoji. This is what would be happening right now. So I feel like I have so many questions.
Anything I could dive into. Let me get into the notes.
Yes, there's two in the AMA section already.
Okay.
And just so that you know, it now works on there's an app for Claude. So it's really handy. Just FYI.
Call out.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to show, which I didn't, so being able to link to URLs is coming. It's actually available with Claude now. I think it's in beta, but it's not been enabled for us. So to get around that, when you're in something like, let's say you want to share some content, when you're in Claude, there's a screen share. I don't know if you're aware of that. So there's a screen share, this little camera. And then you can select what you want to screen share, and it takes a screenshot. So it has just taken a screenshot of what I can see here. So I would scroll up. This is your reference information, right? And I would just keep screenshotting to get all of that info quickly. Now, if you're in something like GitLab Docs and there aren't a bunch of images, I would actually recommend editing the page and just grabbing all of the markdown for the page and then pasting it into Claude as one go because that's super quick. You could do the same thing with handbook pages.
I love that. Do you want me to verbalize the questions
Yeah,
in the AMA?
yeah,
Do you
that'd be
have
great.
a little extra time?
I do. Yeah, shoot.
Let's do it. So first question in here, and sorry, I don't see a name. Otherwise, I'd offer to let them verbalize. How do you feel about Claude Duo being used to craft official communication with GitLab users / customers? From a support engineer POV to communicate technical information, for example. I'd also love to hear your thoughts on Claude adoption rate at GitLab. Ooh, legal being the highest and engineering being right in the middle. Good question.
Yeah, I'm total fan. Like again, why do the long division if you have the calculator? Now that's not to say post a single, prompt and then copy and paste the thing that it returned the first time without review. Like co-creating content is super important rather than just copying and pasting. But yeah, why do it yourself if it's faster and better with Claude?
That's such a good call. If there's one resource we can't really renew, it's time. So it's a huge time help. Griselda, did you want to verbalize your question if you're still on?
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Pilar. And
Hi.
it's a very technical question, but I'm struggling with this a lot. And in finance, we are very used to get like Excel formats or something different for calculation and that. And right now, I'm just able, like to get the text version or the online version. And I don't know if you know how to get like a different format for
Like a
those.
table? Yeah,
Yeah.
you can tell him to return a table. He'll return a slide deck. He'll return all different tables, all different formats. The problem is I don't think it will download in the table. I think it'll download as a CSV. You can copy the table that it returns and paste into Excel as a single action though. Like if you highlight it and copy, it will paste cleanly into Excel.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
I see. But then I need to request it like in the format that I
You
want.
have to tell them,
Okay.
open this in this format, and it will, and then it will. We do have a request to Anthropic for better integration into Google Sheets because I think there's no Google Sheets integration right now. Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Amanda.
Sure.
All right. Javier Villanueva. Villanueva? Keep me honest. What's up, Javi?
Villanueva, but you got it.
Villanueva. Did you want to verbalize your question? I'm happy to do it for you if you're tied up. Oh, cannot verbalize. I'm the worst. So sorry. Is there resource to know what type of data I can give Claude? For example, can I give it Salesforce reports that contain customer data like subscription dates, ATR, etc.?
You can. I did get clarity on this. You can give Claude all data except red data. Red data is defined as any customer generated code in GitLab. The code generated by the customer that lives in GitLab cannot be uploaded to Claude. Everything else can. So you can take Salesforce data, you can take emails from customers, you can take competitive information. You can put anything into Claude that's not red data, which is just generated code.
Okay. Thank
I
you.
know.
That's super helpful.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's super helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a big barrier for one of the teams that I was working with. And so I got that clarified from legal.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Adrian, I see you writing in a question. Do you want to verbalize it?
Sure. So I see there's like a feature to connect Google Drive to Claude. I was wondering if you do that, what are the advantages of that?
Yeah, I've tried to make it work for me. And just to be honest, I haven't gotten the value out of it. What I found is that it's very limited with the format and the types of things. The types of things I'm trying to feed it typically as images. That's where the real barrier is for me. And it does not bring in the images. It will just bring in the text. And so what I prefer to do is download things with PDF and then add it to the project. Not to the project, because when you upload it with the project, it removes the images as well. So I add it to the chat. Now you might hit your limits faster and you have to do it redundantly, But I've just found it more efficient that way.
Okay. Thanks.
These are all great questions, and I know we're at time. I'll drop in Terry's question to the notes doc as well on future chats. I like that. And
I just want a little PSA. I'm a huge fan of talking about this. So if anybody wants to coffee chat with me to just brainstorm, please schedule. Sorry, Fila.
no, I love that. I have questions on, I'm trying to up my slide game. So I'm wondering, and I know you said graphics are a bit of a maybe, maybe not. So at some point, I'm going to have to play with that. But thank you, Amanda, so much. This was an incredible presentation. I can't wait to ask more questions. And to everyone that dialed in, thank you so much as well. Have an amazing rest of your day, team.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.